Okay guys, we're here with Lauren to playtest Puzzometry, and other than seeing pictures of this online, she's never actually seen the puzzles, and we have 7 different versions. This one is Puzzometry 6. So dig in, Lauren, and tell us what you think. Try to speak up a little bit loud so that the mic can catch your voice.
Alright, so it comes in a nice little bag that looks perfect for traveling. I like it. And dump it out and
Instructions.
see a lot of clear shapes.
Read them or we set them aside.
Instructions are good. Number 1, spread out all of the Puzzometry pieces on a table. 2, each player takes a turn selecting one piece at a time and pulling them to their side of the table.
So she has discovered the 2-player version of this. Up above is, so there's actually a 2-player version of how we can do this, but up above is just the regular puzzle instructions.
Gotcha. So can you fit all of the Puzzometry pieces inside the Puzzometry frame? It looks easy, there are tons of possibilities, but can you find the right one?
Cool. So I'll have to get that away so the wind doesn't blow it away. And just go ahead and explore. Tell us what you're seeing, feeling, thinking.
All right, so it's little, it fits in the box.
We'll take the frame out onto the towel. Yeah, make it show up a little bit better. How do the pieces feel in your hands? What's your kind of tactile reaction to these?
They're nice, they don't feel cheap at all. They feel nice in my hands, fun to play with. They're really smooth. Like the instructions said, it looks like it's definitely going to be trickier than I anticipated.
This one is called Puzzometry 6. You see down here in the lower
Yes.
right part of the frame.
Yes. I can easily see where this would be entertaining for longer periods of time.
And full disclosure here, Lauren and I don't know each other. I just put an ad out on a neighborhood app to say, hey, I'm looking for playtesters, and Lauren responded, and so we met about 3 minutes ago.
Yes, sir.
So do you feel like you're getting close?
You know, almost. It's kind of like a Sudoku game, like one number wrong and it throws off the whole grid, and that's how I feel. Like I see there's some holes in here and I know that it's not going to work like that. So while I have a lot of the pieces placed, I don't think I'm close.
Okay. Do you think this would be a fun game for mostly people your age, or would your parents like it, maybe grandparents, mostly just your friends? What do you think?
I find it fun for my age. I can definitely see where my grandma would enjoy something like this. She's a solitaire puzzle kind of person. I don't know about younger ages. Maybe I'd say 5th grade and up probably could handle it if they are perseverant.
Okay. And you think it definitely appeals to your age group of high school age?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to hear. And again, listeners, we've got 6 additional versions of this. There's seven different types of Puzzometry, and this one is Puzzometry 6. Cool. And describe the kind of the physical attributes of the shapes. What do you notice in there?
They are all straight edges, but in different patterns.
Okay.
Can't think of the word.
All of these pieces are based on a smushed down hexagon. If you kind of look closely, you'll notice that it's segments of hexagons, but they're kind of flattened.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, that's hexagon is part of the reason why it has the name Puzzometry 6, because of 6 sides.
Gotcha.
How long do you think you could play with this before you was like, all right, I've had enough for the day? Is this a thing you could totally get lost in an afternoon, or?
Possibly. I could see where it would be really good for road trips due to it. If you did it in the box, it's compact, and I feel like the pieces would be kind of easy enough not to lose. They are clear, so gotta be careful with that. But
Yep. Cool. What do you say we try one of the others now?
I'm ready.
All right, let's just kind of quickly put that in the box and we'll pull another one out and see what reaction you have to that. Okay, here are the pieces for the next one, and the next one is the original Puzzometry. And this is the one that was kind of started it all. We launched on Kickstarter in 2014 with this one and two others. Let's move up just a bit to get centered in the camera.
Gotcha.
And so go through the same description of this one. What do you think?
So this one looks like it's based on octagons.
That's right, yeah. Octagons and small little squares. If you notice the pieces here, they're octagons and small little squares. Yeah.
I feel like this one might be a little more difficult.
This one has been around for 6 years, so I've seen a lot of people, there's a lot of data on people playing with this one, so I kind of understand that one. The Puzzometry 6 is one of the newer ones, so I don't have a ton of data on it, but I think they're probably both going to be about the same difficulty level, but I'm not sure yet. Moving right along, all these pieces can fit in so many different places.
They can. I feel like the little square pieces make it harder. Because you go to put it somewhere and there's only the piece for the octagon. You can't, like, you line it up and it's like, oh, there's a little square sticking out on the edge and there's no room on the border.
For you geometry nuts out there, all of these puzzles, all 7 of them, are based on tessellations of various shapes. In this case, it's the octagons and squares. Lauren, do you know what tessellations are?
You know, the word sounds familiar, but
It's okay. It's not a real common word. But it means when a small set of shapes are used to completely canvas a surface or an area. So all of these octagons and squares, when solved properly, completely fill the surface with no gaps. Does this one seem more or less visually appealing than the previous one?
I'd say they're about the same.
Okay.
For the purposes of playing them, I did enjoy the other one better, but that was just because I thought it was easier.
Okay. All right. And they are all, yeah, they're all a little bit different. So. I forget the exact dimensions of these, but they're about 6 inches by 4 inches, somewhere around in that area. And I forget exactly at one point I knew them when I was laying them out on CAD, but yeah, that'll give you some idea of the size of them.
Gotcha. So what is this made of?
This is laser cut acrylic. It's a 1/4 inch acrylic, very similar to the stuff you can go buy at Home Depot or Lowe's.
Oh.
I buy it, in fact, the very first prototypes were made from material at Home Depot. And so I buy it in bulk and make these, but laser cut. I'm just outside of Houston, Texas, and these are designed by me and made here locally in the Houston area.
That's so cool. We love to support local businesses.
Yes, indeed. That's always a good thing. What do you say? Try one of the other ones?
One more? Okay.
Yeah.
And I like how the edges don't feel sharp at all. They fit nicely with each other, but no hazards.
Yeah, that actually took a little bit of work to do to get the laser totally focused just right to get that done. This one is a prototype of Puzzometry squares. You can tell it's a prototype because it actually doesn't say Puzzometry squares down there, it just says Puzzometry.
Gotcha.
But the real production models say Puzzometry squares. And I bet you can tell why it's called Puzzometry squares.
They're made of squares.
Yeah.
I feel like a good square. My mom's actually a geometry teacher, and I could see where this would be perfect in classrooms for kids who are finished with their work and need something.
Yeah, that is a good thing. I've had several teachers buy them for that, and I'm actually on some of the approved vendor lists for some of the area schools, but I would like to get onto more approved vendor lists just for that reason.
That's great.
So if you're a teacher out there, reach out to me, and we'll figure out how to get on the approved vendor list for your school district. What do you think about this one compared to the previous ones?
I think it's about on par with the first one that we tried as far as
you are discovering the one
difficulty.
piece that makes this one a prototype, is that there is one piece cut wrong. The production ones don't have that.
Is it this one?
It's
All right, we'll just set
But,
you aside for now.
But yeah, rest assured the production models do not have that problem. But this is a prototype I've been having on my shelf for a few years now, and figured I would pull it out today. It's actually this piece that is the problem.
Oh, okay.
You can see there that this edge and that edge are not even. They should be even straight across.
Gotcha.
And so that one was a mess up on our prototype runs, but we learned and made it better. So, but this one's old. This one was probably made in 2014, among the very first batch. But even with that flaw, this puzzle does still solve. You just have to put this one in exactly the right location.
Oh, so it fits somewhere. It just
Yeah.
doesn't fit with all the other pieces.
Absolutely,
Gotcha.
yeah. And Puzzometry Squares was one of the original 3 that we launched in 2014. It was this one, the Puzzometry Original that we saw in the previous segment, and then also Puzzometry Junior, which we'll pull out here very soon. Junior, yeah. How would you rate this from 1 to 10, the experience of just playing with these things? Is this totally good, or is it kind of eh?
I think I'll give it an 8.
An 8, hey, I'll take that, that's pretty good.
It's pretty fun though.
Yeah. I've had people tell me that this particular one reminds them of another game. Is there any other game that this particular model reminds you of?
Possibly Blockus?
Blockus, yes. In fact, Blockus is kind of how the 2-player game that you were trying to read the instructions to earlier, Blockus is kind of how the 2-player version of this works. But Puzzometry Squares, people have mentioned to me that it reminds them of Tetris.
That as well.
Okay, let's move on to Puzzometry Junior.
All right.
And Puzzometry Junior is the exact same pieces as in the regular Puzzometry, but there's only 7 of them instead of 14, and it's a much smaller frame. So in theory, it should be easier, and in practice, it is easier.
Okay.
Yeah, this one, the Junior usually only takes about 5 to 10 minutes for most people to solve, but some other people get stuck on it. So Puzzometry Junior, and much smaller. Exact same, 7 of the exact same shapes that were in regular Puzzometry. There's 14 in that one, and I took 7 of those shapes to make this one. Let's move a bit centered to the camera. Good.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that perhaps young kids wouldn't be the perfect audience for it. How about this guy? Would this work better for the younger guys?
I think this would definitely be a suitable alternative to the big version for younger kids. The fewer pieces would definitely help as they have minimal attention spans.
Yeah. It's still kind of amazing how many people struggle with even a 7-piece version of this for a long time. Most people solve it in about 5 to 15 minutes or so, but some people get stuck on this thing forever, and it's fun and sort of embarrassing that they can't do a 7-piece puzzle, but that's all part of the fun. Yeah, that's part of the fun of Puzzometry. So there is actually another Junior. The other Junior is a Junior called Puzzometry Steps, and it's the exact same size as that one, but it is made of 7 pieces of a puzzle we haven't seen yet called Puzzometry Steps. So Steps is very jagged edged like squares was, but it's made out of shapes that kind of stair step like. So that's why it's called.
This one.
Yeah. So
It looks like video game pixels.
it does, and in fact, I almost thought about calling Puzzometry steps. I almost thought about calling it Puzzometry pixels. Yeah, there you go. So we haven't seen Puzzometry steps yet on this video, but this is the junior version of it. Steps has the exact same shapes, but bigger, a bigger frame. So part of the deal of getting Lauren out here to help make this video was that I was going to give her a couple of puzzles, and I will definitely do that when we're done here, when she leaves. But if you had to pick one, which one of the ones that you've seen so far do you think you like?
I really liked the square one.
Okay, that's the one that people said that reminded them of Tetris.
Yes.
So that is 6 out of the 7 Puzzometry puzzles. Again, the 7th one that we didn't show here is the bigger version of Puzzometry Junior 2, and it is called Puzzometry Steps. So yeah, that's 6 out of the 7, and they're all available at Puzzometry.com, Puzzometry.com, and on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at Puzzometry, all of those. Lauren, what is the hip, cool social media that you and your peers use?
Instagram.
Instagram.
Definitely.
That is definitely picking up steam the last few years. Very cool. Any last words before we sign off here?
I definitely recommend you get this. It's a not a time waster, but if you have free time and a boredom buster, that's what.
Boredom buster.
That's what we're
Hashtag
going
boredom
for.
buster. Man, that's really good. I've never heard that phrase before, but perfect. Boredom buster. Puzzometry.com. Go check it out. We've got 7 different puzzles to choose from. Thanks for watching.